Republicans did something this week that I couldn't not talk about. And here's his most recent tweet. We're delivering President Trump's promises to allow the economy to flourish. They're going to get no tax on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on loan interest for American made cars, and tax for relief for seniors. Now, I don't know what really out of the punch list is included or not. But basically, he's been working on this budget reconciliation bill, and they're trying to get a lot of Trump's executive orders and his policy baked into one big, beautiful bill. But the problem is, in my opinion, the communication. Communication is the problem because, first off, we're seeing stuff like this. And this is absolutely appalling. Of all the things that made me mad about Republicans, this is probably the one. This is probably the one. House Republicans, the House GOP account, we need to get Americans off the sidelines. What does that even mean? Off the sidelines to do what? To call Democrats? The Republicans have a majority in the Congress. House Republicans, is this Mike Johnson? Who wrote this? Do they want voters to call the Republicans to try and get the Republicans to legislate the Republican agenda? Is that really what we're talking about here? I don't know. It's nonsensical, but I said Americans did get off the sideline to get you pukes elected, and you're squandering it. And listen, when I get 21,000 likes in less than a day, it has hit the exact target on what people care about on Twitter. And so this is the discussion. And people are really mad at Republicans. And look, I did it twice. Voters gave Republicans the entire government. And today, Republicans told voters to get off the sidelines. 17,000 likes. 250,000 people saw that tweet. And I didn't even spend more than 10 seconds thinking about it when I typed it. Really insane because it's so tone deaf, too, because the other problem is the party has people breaking ranks left and right. You have this out of Politico, the Titanic. Ron Johnson predicts the House's big, beautiful bill will sink in the Senate. The Wisconsin senator also warned that President Donald Trump's tariffs have created enormous economic uncertainty. So back to uncertainty. Dude, have you seen the stock market? The VIX is like down again. Nobody cares about the 10-year. What are you talking about? The only thing that I can assume is that he must be getting backing from major corporate that's the only thing I can assume. Senator Ron Johnson said Wednesday he thinks the House Republicans' reconciliation bill is going down, and he's working to ensure its demise. The big, beautiful bill, I think that's the Titanic. The third-term Wisconsin Republican said to Politico at a live event in Washington, arguing it doesn't do enough to reduce spending. Oh, it's the budget hawks. Well, I think that's fair, but get involved and don't call it the Titanic and destroy it. Can't you guys amend it? What's going on here? I think that's going down because I think I have enough colleagues in the Senate that this has resonated with that say, yeah, we have to return to a reasonable pre-pandemic spending. Okay, fine. But is this what you're going to do? You're going to Politico to be a budget hawk when Donald Trump wants this thing across the finish line? I'd like more spending cuts. But it's let's be real. The Republicans in the Senate and the House have completely, in my opinion, appeared to have turned their back on DOGE, which I think is where a lot of these cuts would come from, right? All this open fraud, all the illegal aliens on Medicare and all that stuff. Johnson's comments indicate that even if the House is able to secure the votes to pass its ambitious legislative package this week, it will struggle to clear the Senate. I thought the whole budget reconciliation process only required 51 votes in the Senate. The Republicans have what, 53? So they're saying basically that the Republicans can't get their own Republican bill passed. Is that what's going on here? We just had Republicans shut down Ed Martin. We have Mitch McConnell being obstructionist as well. They just can't get out of their way. This Nancy Pelosi would not suffer this at all. They would put a fatwa out on anybody who broke ranks. Because let's be real, it's great you have your principles, but we're pretty sure you're just hiding behind them. I think it's fair to say. And I mean, uh, and again, with they hide behind the 60 vote rule, the filibuster thing. I don't think that applies here. I really don't. But we should be seeing legislation left and right. And people have been making this claim. This Congress has been in session less than the prior Congress by almost 2x. They've only gotten 5 bills across the finish line. And let's be real, the prior administration censored hundreds of thousands of people on the internet, threatened to throw the unvaccinated in jail, weaponized the judicial system, literally forced a experimental vaccine on people, destroyed every institution, raided the southern border in an invasion to essentially replace domestic born workers, and then on top of it, pissed on us and told us it was raining. Those people, I think it's safe to say, if they get back in power, are going to consider overriding the filibuster rule because I don't think there are any norms anymore. We're talking about there's a lot of things this week that continue to point out to me potentially that we have political violence coming down the pike, at least at some point. An immovable object is going to meet an unstoppable force because you have AOC telling people that what the Democrats did in New Jersey is not illegal and there's going to be repercussions if they arrest more folks. And then you have Noam out there saying that it's coming. They're going to open up a can. So I don't know where that's going, but what I can say is that voters are not giving Congress very good marks. Now, across the board, and yeah, hit like for the polling. Really would appreciate it if everybody hit like, shared this, hit the notification bell, subscribe if you haven't. Maybe hop onto one of the other channels and subscribe on that one too. That'd be great. Because really, nobody's talking about polling right now about Congress. The Democrats are all just whatabouting about things like the Qatar jet and trying to come up with some kind of unified narrative to take Trump down. Republicans look like they're just doing their little bean counter stuff behind closed doors. And, everybody out there is trying to cover for these people on Twitter. But these numbers show that it's hard work covering for Republicans nowadays. Hard work. Now, people always, like I said, do not like Congress. But right now they have an 11% excellent rating. That's pretty close to about as low as it gets. 22% good. So 1 in 3 people say excellent or good. 41% say poor. I think we've seen higher. And Joe Biden routinely scored like 50% on poors. So maybe it could be said that Joe Biden is polling better. Let me rephrase that. Congress is polling better than Joe Biden on some of his worst issues, like immigration. But 25% say fair. So we got 2/3 of people who are like, not really happy with what they're doing. And ultimately, what comes down to the party signals, the most important thing here is that only 16% of Republicans say excellent. Yes, Republicans own Congress with a majority. Only 16% say excellent. Now, 33% say good, but they can't even get to half excellent or good. Keep in mind, Congress, and I hope somehow that Speaker Mike Johnson sees this little segment. Maybe I'll clip it. Donald Trump has an 80% Republican approval rating today. And I think it's like a low 60s, 62, 64, something like that. Strong approval. And Congress, owned by Republicans right now, can't even get to 49% among their own party. That's sad. And it's basically parity. 48% say poor or fair. So Republicans are pretty split on Congress right now, but they're all in on Trump. And so the only conclusion I can draw is that they want Trump's mandate enacted. And they want it yesterday because things are going in the right direction. Republicans, by over 70%, are saying things are going in the right direction. And if you're not on board with that, Congress, as these numbers would imply, I can only think that it's bad for you in the fall. Only 49% of Trump voters, only 14% say excellent, super low. 63% of Harris voters say poor. Maybe that should be higher. I don't know. Only 52% of Democrats say poor. Maybe they enjoy the others. Maybe the others enjoy the obstructionism. I don't know. But agree or disagree with this statement, Republicans in Congress are not delivering on the mandate given to them by the American people. Now, we could wax philosophical about the prior question. And you could say, well, Republicans aren't exactly saying that Congress's performance is super poor, or maybe the Republicans are upset with maybe some of the Democrats that are maybe just they're mad at some of the rhinos who are breaking ranks. But this is pretty clear. Republicans in Congress are not delivering on the mandate. And what's wild, we've talked about Donald Trump's platform is more popular than he is. Most of the issues are 60 to 70% issues. 61% of US likely voters agree with that statement. Only 27% disagree. So even people that don't support Trump are saying that Republicans in Congress are not delivering on his mandate. That's appalling. That is absolutely appalling. It should shame Republicans in Congress. But what do Republicans think? Well, they basically agree with Democrats on this. 65% of Democrats think Republicans are not delivering on the mandate that Donald Trump was given. That's astounding. Again, most of them probably like it, but it's cold dose of truth. 60% of Republicans agree with that statement. Only 13% strongly disagree. So there's only 13% of Republicans who would say, no, the Republican Party in Congress is doing great. They're doing what Donald Trump put them there for. It's not good. This is not what. Let's look at Trump voters. I bet you it's even worse. People who strongly approve of Trump, 59% agree, as do people who strongly disapprove. Everybody agrees the Republicans suck. Donald Trump voters, 59%. So it's across the board. Really, that's crazy. Really, no signal. Even the super optimistic people that think the country is going in the right direction right now, 57% agree that Republicans in Congress are not doing what they should. That is stunning and wild. Now, again, my advice to Republicans is wake up. And we're going to talk about Republicans in polling after we get to chat and stuff like that. But I wanted to talk about one more thing because we mentioned it a little bit in the talk with John Fawcett that I aired on our channel last night. But there are going to start to be Republican casualties. This paradigm is very different than your normal establishment Republican is used to. Before, if a little heat got levied at a establishment Republican, they would just book a slot on Sean Hannity, do a 2-minute segment, post it to their Twitter account. Everything would be good. Or they'd just, hide in their office, avoid the calls from their constituents. Not a lot of accountability there. They have full control over the establishment. There's no way that a really established legislature is going to get a meaningful primary, not with the way that McCarthy and all his predecessors controlled the purse strings. Not going to happen. But I think we're going to see our first casualty, maybe. I don't know. I have to see more polling. But Tom Tillis is really messing up right now. Now, he just blocked pro-freedom nominee Eagle Ed Martin, who I think was appointed as deputy director of the DOJ. And I'll point out that Eagle Ed Martin follows me. What a great patriot, and I'm happy that he follows us. He is a public opinion aficionado. Tillis said his reason for blocking Eagle Ed Martin, and I know that he was unpopular with a few people. One reason, that Ed defended January 6 defendants. That's why Tillis said, because of Jan 6, he didn't want anybody defending him. He wanted these people to have no due process. Just throw them into jail. I don't care how long. I don't care if they're denied cancer treatment or they're not allowed to see their loved ones. No due process, no facts, no blind loyalty, just blind loyalty to the regime. kind of weird to call Republicans in Congress the regime, but blind loyalty to something for sure, because this makes no sense. This is not a principled stance. Cracking down on grandmas and the people that were on a sightseeing trip to the halls of Congress is not a principled stance. Now, John Strand comes to the right conclusion. He must be primaried, but I was interested in trying to understand this in a little bit more depth. And so I went searching around on Twitter, and it turns out that Eagle Ed Martin back in 2020 made this very, very, very interesting post. And we've talked about Trump's executive order about pharmaceutical drug prices. And what a shot across the bow that is to a multi-trillion-dollar industry. A lot of power, a lot of money is getting made in the pharmaceutical industry. There's probably also a lot of culpability that they're worried about. But the most favored nation aspect to it, the idea that America should get the lowest price of anybody because we support the development of these drugs instead of the higher price that subsidizes all the other countries in the world. Taxpayer donkeys subsidize the other countries by lowering their pharmaceutical prices while we eat max cost through government funded healthcare like Medicare and Medicaid. That's where all these companies get their money for regulatory capture. They just squeeze the tax donkey. Oh yeah, you got to pay $1,000 for that, and it's got to end. It's going to end, assuming Republicans get off their butt and codify it. But look at this in 2020. Ed Martin said Trump says he has signed new executive orders to lower drug prices, according to One American News. My most favored nation order will ensure that our country gets the same low price Big Pharma gives to other countries. Interesting. This was on Ed Martin's radar 5 years ago. And I found other posts. I really thought that was surprising. Tom Tillis is out attacking Trump's pharma pricing plan today. Yeah, Tom Tillis came out. He was one of the big ones. Came out and said, no, this isn't good. It's going to cause more. It always comes back to the economic chaos. That's what they don't like. And I think it's because big business is breathing down their throats. He also tanked Ed Martin's nomination over BS Jan 6 reasons. Here's Ed Martin hyping Trump's pricing plan in 2020 related. And I made another tweet. Interesting. Pharma backs Tom Tillis. Pharma hates Ed Martin. Therefore, Tillis hates Ed Martin. I think that's really what happened. And everybody knows it now. And he is backed by Pharma. Here's Mila Joy. Rhino Senator Tom Tillis has received hefty donations from big pharma and healthcare industries. From 2019 to 2024, he raked in as much as 1.2 million from pharmaceutical and health products alone, including 156K in 2019, making him Congress's top recipient that year. Whoa. Add in insurance and health packs, and totals hit between 1.4 and 2 million over his tenure. The top donors, of course, Pfizer, Amgen, Eli Lilly, Purdue Pharma, ranked fourth among senators for pharma cash in 2020. Isn't that interesting? That's the same year that Ed Martin was out talking about Trump's pricing executive orders for pharmaceutical companies. Isn't that stunning? Do you think that's a coincidence, folks? Hit like if you don't think that's a coincidence. Let's see what you think. And listen, it's not going to work. This is the new paradigm. No matter how much they hate the new Twitter, how much they're trying to launch threads and somehow make Blue Sky work, even though it's just peeling off, how Reddit's probably going to implode now because Google's trying to replace Reddit results in the Google search algorithm. Everybody's coming back to Twitter. It's just perfect for these kind of discussions, and everybody loves it. The energy on Twitter is lit right now. I mean, I don't know how many people here actually spend all day on Twitter like me. I never thought I would, but it's the place to be. And let's see how Senator Tom Tillis is doing on Twitter right now. He's like agreeing with Kash Patel here. You let good cops do their jobs and back the blue. That's a little tone deaf, but look at that. 690 comments to 415 likes. Bet you the comments are bad. If this was true and you care about law and order, you wouldn't have sunk Ed Martin's confirmation. Boom, ratioed 451 to 415. This is not the biggest ratio by far. Now he's talking about the Middle East. Many wouldn't even take a phone call from Biden. He's out there doing damage control, trying to puff up Trump. No, it was just Ed Martin in that Jan 6 thing. Forget the fact that most people in Congress blame Trump for January 6th. Tom Tillis is totally fine saying that, no, Jan 6, it was just that Ed Martin thing. I don't care about Trump. Trump's great. He's doing awesome. They're welcoming Trump all over the world with open arms. Look at this, another ratio. More comments than likes. What do we got? Gunther Eagleman attacking him. How does it feel knowing your political career is ending? I promise to help anyone who primaries you. Just brutal. Every single one. Give it up. You made your bed. I thought you had a nefarious purpose for nuking Ed Martin's nomination, but it seems you're just a monumentally stupid man who believes the J6 host. Hard disagree. Very, very strong disagree on that one. Look at this one. A 2x comment ratio. 5,000 comments. Yeah, the golden age is just beginning. He's trying to puff Trump, and people like look, Catturd brutalizes him. 8,000 likes to barely not even 3,000. Now Tom Pfizer Tillis is protecting his big pharma lobbyist. He must be defeated soundly in the primary. So here's the thing. It's like the Senate, they're going to have all these people come out and virtue signal about all of their little special pet issues they have with the House bill. Is the House bill perfect? I don't know. We probably get more than we lose. I have no idea. But my point is that like, get it done. Get it done. I don't know if people are like familiar with the concept of DEF CON. I've talked about this before, but like Trump came in at DEF CON 1. Listen, I used to be in strategic deterrence. Here's what it comes down to. Let me open this. Trump came in at DEF CON 1. The exercise term is cocked pistol. Maximum readiness, nuclear war is imminent. I think that's pretty fair. Nuclear war was essentially imminent. We'd probably be shooting tactical nukes at Russia right now, our own military forces, if Kamala Harris. I mean, let's just say that there was a non-zero likelihood that we would be engaged in a shooting war with Russia right now. What do we think? What do we think the Trump administration is doing? Fast pace, DEF CON 2, exercise term fast pace. Near nuclear war. Maybe that reflects the sentiment of most of the people in Trump's cabinet. I don't know. Republican Congress feels like DEF CON 5 right now. The lowest state of readiness, normal. And Twitter's not going to have it. And again, is Twitter the real world? No, but this informs narratives now. And it just bleeds over to everything. If you've learned something, please follow us at RasmussenReports.com, Rasmussen_poll at Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Mark_R_Mitchell at Twitter. And thanks for watching.